without this, we're missing a lot of we're giving people the lyrics but not giving them the music. And that is, they identify with your philosophy. They identify with your philosophy. For me, where did my philosophy came from? So I had, coming off the boat, I had $92. I had a backpack, didn't know I was heading for a motorcycle accident, and a UCSD medical center. But I had this, I also had this. So I was trained in the family business, the painting business. 5 generations of house painters. But there was a philosophy that ran through the Buffni and Company painting company. And when you were about 8 years of age, no matter which side of the family you were on, you went to Harry Buffini's home for the summer. Grandpa Harry. He was like the Mr. Miyagi of the Buffini family. Look at him. He smoked cigars continually and sat on plastic-covered furniture. You better have a good relationship with God to do that. That's all I got to say. And Harry Buffini taught you how to hold a brush. He told you how to sand. He taught you how to fill and prep. You spent your first year with him, and you never got to paint. And bit by bit by bit by bit, he trained you, and he showed you the way, and he allowed you to make mistakes. He'd have you paint these giant ladders, wooden ladders, and you'd come covered in paint because you just kind of painted the big parts first. And then you had to learn how to go, and progression will go through over and over, and he'd walk you through it and walk you through it. And then after a couple of years, you got to go on the job site, and you got to make tea, and you got to do sanding, and you got to sweep the floor. And you come in, there was a right way to sweep the floor, there was a bad way to sweep the floor. And then he'd have you prime the floors. And if you didn't prime the floor properly, you were in the corner, and the door was over here, and you had to wait till it dried to leave. Paint yourself into a corner. And then you got to do the job. And every single day, Harry Buffini would walk through the job site to all the young Buffini apprentices, all the cousins. And he'd walk through with his Castella cigars, the cheapest cigars known to man. And he'd point at your work and he would say this phrase, "Well, Brian, can you put your name to that? Can you put your name to that?" And if you couldn't put your name to the work you'd done that day, what you have to do? Do it over. Did the customer see it? No. Was the customer complaining? No. It didn't meet the standard. And the standard was, we're going to do a better job than our customers expect. And when we do that, we'll be fine. I didn't know it at the time. I was being mentored in the Giver's Guide to Greatness. For 5 generations, that family business continued to tick over and do its thing. Can you put your name to it? Can you put your name to it? When I got into real estate, I might not have known much, but I had this, and I had this. At Buffini and Company today, we were originally called Providence Systems, and then a company that had been around for 150 years didn't like us using their name. So I said, well, let's use my own name. So if you go on tour Buffini and Company today, you'll see the original Buffini and Company decorators. That's my dad, the 5th in the line. Okay? You go to Buffini and Company today, here's one of the 4 buildings on our campus. And as you go tour through it, you'll see everywhere these philosophies are driven home. Here's the deal. Tactics change. Principles don't change. 7,000 years ago, 10 commandments. It was a bad idea to kill your neighbor 7,000 years ago. It's still a bad idea today. Principles don't change. Tactics do. People want to know what your philosophy is so they can identify with it. And then your behavior matches the philosophy, and now you start to create advocates. If that makes sense, say aye.